Hollywood doesn't forget humiliation. It files it away like evidence. Few shows have bruised celebrity egos as brutally as South Park, and fewer creators have paid as high a price for it. What began as cartoon chaos turned into personal vendettas, blacklists, and unspoken bans. Tom Cruise shutting down interviews, Kanye quoting the show mid-meltdown, Barbra Streisand refusing every mention of her animated monster twin, each left a mark that even Comedy Central tried to erase. Tom Cruise's feud with South Park didn't start quietly. In the 2010 episode 200, the writers took a swing straight at Hollywood's ego. Cruise was shown working at a fudge factory, literally packing fudge. It was blunt, cruel, and hilariously reckless. Within days, lawyers representing multiple celebrities, Cruise, Will Smith, John Travolta, and others, filed what was jokingly referred to as a class action celebrity suit. The parody wasn't random. It targeted the idea of fame itself, fragile, self-protective, and desperate to be taken seriously. Inside Comedy Central, panic broke out. Emails from executives later leaked showing pure fear that this joke could end careers, trigger lawsuits, or get the show pulled from air. But Trey Parker and Matt Stone didn't back down. Parker told reporters, "Hollywood can dish it, but it can't take it." That one line became legend. The fallout changed South Park forever. From then on, censorship rules tightened. Every edgy episode had to be reviewed twice. Once by legal, once by security. The Fudge Packer gag didn't just offend celebrities, it rewrote the network's definition of what was safe to air. If that battle bruised Hollywood's pride, the Elon Musk episode bruised the ego of a billionaire. In HandyCar and its spin-off HandyCar Silent Takeover, Musk appeared as a self-absorbed Tesla CEO trying to outsmart Timmy, a disabled child running a new ride-share app. The humiliation wasn't subtle. Musk babbles about solar pizza pockets and self-charging cars while Timmy's company quietly crushes his business model. Viewers loved it. Musk did not. The Mars mission joke hit especially hard, mocking his dream of interplanetary travel as naive hype. For years he stayed silent, but later on Twitter he broke character. Not amused. That single line confirmed what fans suspected. South Park had actually gotten under his skin. His so-called revenge was polite but sharp. He invited Matt Stone and Trey Parker to tour SpaceX, an invitation that never turned into an actual meeting. Industry insiders joked that it was Musk's way of saying, "I'll control the punchline next time." Even for a man who builds rockets, South Park had found the one thing he couldn't launch, his dignity. But no joke in the show's history has been more radioactive than the Prophet Muhammad episodes, 200 and 201. Long before they aired, Comedy Central was flooded with threats. Intelligence briefings confirmed that extremist groups were treating a cartoon as an act of war. Security was ramped up around the studio. When 201 finally broadcast, every mention of Muhammad was bleeped out. His name, his dialogue, even the moral at the end. It was surreal television. Trey Parker later called it the most cowardly move in TV history. And he meant it. The creators had faced censorship before, but this time it wasn't corporate fear, it was physical danger. The backlash pushed Comedy Central into retreat. For years afterward, these episodes vanished from streaming platforms, erased from box sets, scrubbed from archives. Fans who tried to upload them online saw their clips pulled instantly. It became the forbidden chapter of South Park, the moment when satire collided with real-world risk. The show didn't just offend someone, it scared an entire industry. Then came the night the church drew its own battle line, December 7th, 2005. The episode Bloody Mary aired on Comedy Central. The story showed a statue of the Virgin Mary spraying blood from her genitals while priests debated if it was a miracle or menstruation. The outrage was immediate and massive. Bill Donahue of the Catholic League launched a campaign demanding the show's cancellation, calling it an insult to faith and women everywhere. Even Vatican representatives weighed in, condemning it publicly. Comedy Central pulled the reruns after just one showing. For a moment, it seemed religion had finally won a round against South Park. But Matt Stone fired back saying, "It's fake blood, get over it." The line turned the controversy into performance art. Within days, hate mail poured in, from religious activists who called it blasphemy, and from atheists who said the creators were mocking the wrong religion. The irony was brutal. They were getting death threats from both sides. That night exposed the central truth of South Park. Their humor wasn't about picking a side, it was about daring anyone to react. Taken together, these moments show how easily laughter turns lethal when the powerful feel mocked. A cartoon about fudge and celebrities led to censorship reform. A parody of Elon Musk turned into a billionaire's public embarrassment. 2 censored episodes on faith triggered global outrage and corporate fear. And a bleeding statue proved that even in satire, some images cross invisible lines. Every time South Park thought it had found the edge, it discovered the edge could still move. When South Park aired The Tale of Scrody McBoogerballs on March 17, 2010, it wasn't just another gross-out comedy, it was the show turning the mirror inward. The plot had the boys writing the most offensive book possible to mock how adults overreact to censorship. But when the book accidentally becomes a sensation, critics start calling it a masterpiece about social decay. The episode wasn't random. Trey Parker confirmed in a 2010 interview that it was inspired by the backlash from the banned 200 and 201 episodes that same year. They had mocked religion, fame, and censorship and were attacked from every direction. Parker said they felt trapped between people who said we went too far and people who said we weren't going far enough. Matt Stone added that the irony of being called moral crusaders by some and cowards by others became unbearable. The McBoogerballs episode was their venting session disguised as comedy. Internally, the writers called it their meta meltdown. The embarrassing truth is that they became the very thing they were satirizing. Creators whose work was analyzed to death by audiences looking for hidden meaning that never existed. Critics later pointed out that the episode exposed South Park's own loss of control. Its satire had been swallowed by the culture it mocked. Then came Timmy, the disabled boy in the wheelchair who somehow became a capitalist icon. Handy Car, which aired on October 15, 2014, showed Timmy running a parody version of Uber and outsmarting every adult in South Park. But early drafts of the episode painted a far darker picture. Multiple former crew members confirmed in a 2016 Hollywood Reporter feature that one scrapped storyline had Timmy encouraging sexual harassment among his drivers as a tactic to sabotage rival companies. It was ultimately cut after what an anonymous writer called a full-room revolt. Voice actor reactions from that table read leaked years later on Reddit, describing moral discomfort among staff who refused to record the lines. Comedy Central's ad department also stepped in, warning the team that disability rights groups might view it as mocking sexual assault through disability. If the scene had aired, insiders believe it would have cost the network several million in lost sponsorships. The final version turned Timmy into a determined entrepreneur, and unexpectedly, it worked. Critics from The Atlantic and Vulture praised the episode for portraying Timmy as one of the most empowered disabled characters on television. The irony couldn't have been sharper. The joke meant to mock exploitation turned into an unintentional victory for representation. The fallout from Blame Canada in 1999 proved that sometimes a musical number can cause a diplomatic headache. The song, written by Trey Parker and Mark Shaman for South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, mocked parents who blamed Canada for corrupting American children. It was nominated for an Academy Award that same year and performed live by Robin Williams on March 26, 2000. But north of the border, the reaction was far from applause. Canadian media outlets, including the CBC and Toronto Star, accused the film of Hollywood xenophobia. On June 28, 1999, new Democratic Party MP Nelson Riss even proposed a symbolic protest motion in Parliament against the film's portrayal of Canadians as clueless caricatures. The motion didn't pass, but triggered a media frenzy that turned a parody into an international debate. In interviews afterward, Trey Parker sounded exhausted, saying, "We actually love Canada, they just keep banning us." The apology tour comment came during the 2000 Entertainment Weekly press junket, when Parker admitted that South Park had been pulled off air in several Canadian regions after the movie's release. The irony deepened years later when the show aired Where My Country Gone in 2015, featuring Canadians banning American television to protect moral decency. It was the perfect reversal, satire completing its own loop. Behind the jokes, a quieter battle was being fought over what South Park was allowed to show. By 2022, over 30 episodes had been banned or restricted in countries from China to Sri Lanka. Super Best Friends, Season 5, Episode 3, was pulled globally after the Muhammad controversy resurfaced, while It Hits the Fan, Season 5, Episode 1, was restricted in several Middle Eastern markets due to profanity laws. When HBO Max acquired streaming rights in June 2020, fans noticed something missing. Both 200 and 201 were gone. The removal wasn't announced. Only after Deadline Hollywood reported it on June 24, 2020, did Warner Media confirm that the episodes were excluded due to potential safety risks. Netflix had done the same in 2019, quietly deleting the same episodes from its UK and India catalogs. Trey Parker later told The Hollywood Reporter in a 2021 retrospective that they had to rewrite entire scenes minutes before airing because of threat analysis teams advising Comedy Central on security protocols. His exact words: "We'd get a call 10 minutes before air saying, 'That line will get you killed.'" He laughed while saying it, but no one in the room did. Matt Stone followed with a blunt assessment during a 2020 podcast. "Our banned episodes are basically our resume." By then, censorship had become both their curse and their legacy. The more they were silenced, the more valuable their silence became to fans. The combined picture across these scandals shows how South Park stopped being just a show about absurdity and became a case study in cultural whiplash. A fake novel meant to mock outrage turned into a real critique of the creator's exhaustion. A disabled cartoon character nearly caused an advertiser walkout before being celebrated as groundbreaking. A throwaway movie song ended up in the Canadian Parliament. And over 30 banned episodes formed a map of modern censorship stretching from California to Beijing. Each controversy carried its own timestamp, each backlash its own paper trail. March 17, 2010, for the self-parody. October 15, 2014, for the disability debate. June 28, 1999, for the Canadian uproar. And June 24, 2020, for the quiet removal that proved their jokes were never just jokes.